I do love the Japanese concepts and foundations of things like Kaizen, like ikigai. And even, you introduced me to the wabi-sabi and, this perfection. And, these are really important, I feel like, concepts that can all help us. How do you apply, because there's so many different Japanese concepts, maybe you could give some examples to everyone listening of how you apply them within your life to then become happier, to work through those tough times that we all are going to experience.
Yes, it's inevitable that bad things will happen. So we have a term called mono no aware, which means the pathos in your own life, which means indeed things will not always be good. I'm, in fact, like pushing down things that I have to deal with in my own life right now that sometimes I think I'm the only person going through them. And in fact, I'm not. Ikigai is finding one's purpose. It is an Okinawan term, and it refers to you finding a place in your community. And I think you have found that, Casper, and it's important for you to acknowledge it, regardless of what our immigrant parents' wishes are. Right. We have a different calling, and it is okay to do just that, because if you're a messenger helping your parents out, I'm sure that they see it now. When we think about gaman, it refers to always doing your best. So you'll hear Japanese people say ganbatte, gambaru, gaman. That means, gaman is resilience, like living in resilience. And then the parent word to that is like ganbatte, gambaru, which is always doing your best. I think as New Yorkers, we're one of the most resilient types on this earth. And you have to be, if you know how to throw a bow on the subway or stand back against the wall in the station, or just simply be aware constantly that bad things can happen at any time. Yes. And accept them as they are. Ganbatte refers to like an Olympic athlete or a doctor going out for their exams at the beginning of med school. You want to say to people, ganbatte, always do your best. And that is an anthem we say in Japan to each other, because we do believe as a culture with no natural resources at all, that brain power is one of the only things that they have, which is why they work so incredibly hard. Kaizen is continuously improving. Many people have taken this concept and utilized it into the practice of business. And we do know from the automotive industry, it was used widely during that period of time. I believe in the American boom, even in automotive vehicles back in Michigan. And I think we should maybe rephrase Kaizen for the modern day audience. And I ask people, like I said before, and professionals, whether you're in the business for 10 years, 20 or 50, to look at people and look at their resume and their body of work and their skill set, their professionalism, their candor. How do they treat others? And are you hiring the same people over and over? Is it time for new and fresh faces, new stories, new lenses, new perspectives? We often see a Caucasian westernized version of storytelling of Japan. And it is very sad as a half Japanese woman whose mother is born and raised there to never be able to tell my own story regarding Japan just because I am an American Japanese female. I think that is an easy way for me to say to people, you might have been fed stories through the Hollywood lens that are not true, or just one facet in a complete world of just multifacets. It is important for us to think deeply about these things. If we don't think, we often lose our train of inspiration and creativity. So it's really important to take yourself out of this bubble that we live in. Even if it's New York City, I still tell people explore and grow and learn. I'll leave you with this word, shinrin ryoku, which is forest bathing. Sometimes a simple cleanse of the oxygen released from a forest, getting deep breathing in, viewing the moss on the trees and the rocks, seeing the stream, hearing it, audible learning, visual learning. these things can help you on a mini reset in a way. So it is important to go into nature when you can. Even if you don't have a lot of money, I often tell people you can always find your haven for nature. You can do woofing, you can volunteer on a farm, you can travel all over the world and help people like UNICEF or even Habitat for Humanity, and get yourself out of your element and find like-minded people that do good in this world. And the last word is komorebi, which is the light, the flicker between the trees that you will see if you're walking through that forest. It is an untranslatable Japanese word. All of these are. But komorebi will be like this guiding light for you. I see it when I go to Japan, and I always point it out to the Japanese people. I must look like a fool to them, like, komorebi. They're like, They're excited that this Japanese American journalist is so fascinated by komorebi. But it just enables like this moment of light in the darkness that I think we can see visually. We will never be able to see that flicker between the trees if there wasn't the combination of yin and yang and light and dark together, like you had mentioned earlier. And guess what? Both have to fucking coexist with one another. You'll never be able to get through this lifetime without pain and suffering and the darkness. And the more you come to realize this, and I am not perfect, I still struggle every single day. Depression, anxiety, addictions. And no, I don't need to tell you everything about my life, which is why when people write these horrible reviews and comments and judge, it's like, wow, shit, did you want me to pull back another curtain for you? Because I can, but I didn't feel like it. And because of you, I'm going to go back to cookbooks, which people are probably happy about. But it's so funny how afraid we are to sometimes just be ourselves imperfectly, perfectly, imperfectly. Wabi sabi.
Wabi sabi.
Come as you are, flaws and all, and stop fucking judging other people. Because who are you? Are you perfect? You know, I'm pretty sure Buddha wouldn't even judge anybody, and he probably was close to being enlightened. Yeah. But yet he is a mere mortal like you and I.
Japanese culture is so freaking fascinating. It's just, you can learn so much. That's what I love from it. And everything you said is just like so on point. And that's why I feel like anyone that listens to this audiobook, Spirited, is going to pull something out of it that resonates with them, right? For me, it was kind of Kaizen hit there and letting go and other things. And through the stories, you could, you know, kind of get that appreciation for how it will impact you and how you could utilize it in your life. So that's amazing.